Hello, everybody. Um, this is Bawa, and I'll be making a presentation for SPCH219 Module 1, Self-Assessment and Reflection. In this presentation, we'll be looking at about 5 core concepts that we've encountered during SPCH219, and in this concept, we'll be reflecting on some of the key points that we've come to be familiar with, and also some of the constructs that we can take going forward. First question relates to the comfort level when it comes to presenting in the 21st century, um, and basically the question of anxiety when it comes to public speaking. It's a place where you are encountering new frontiers. Anytime you step before a crowd, and or you have to be a focal point disseminating information or communicating a new concept, it's always a challenge. But just going through speech 219, there is an aggregate understanding that all these concepts really come under the umbrella of overcoming fear. And once you master that concept, you are really empowered and equipped to where you can perform at a higher level. And the thing that speech 219 allows us to do is to understand a delivery style, the preparation process. This creates a platform where you have a better understanding, and you can really engage the task at hand. Basically, you embracing technology, and once you've embraced the technology and understand um, the delivery method, you know you're ready to inspire. You're ready to make a difference, and it just empowers you now going forward. And this is what speech 19 has had an aggregate of doing, just really empower. Now, as for me, I mean, between the comparison of which method would I best prefer, um, even though the 21st century delivery method has a lot of technology, I still believe that being face to face with the crowd gives you a better perspective of what the audience is in tune to, and you have a keen understanding, and literally get to a place where you have one heartbeat with the audience. And there is that rapport, the going back and forth, and you really know whether your audience is really engaged with what you're actually communicating. And then at every end of speech, there's either the standing ovation, the applaud, and this gives you a direct correlation of how much your work has been ingratiated. So I think for me, just being in direct communication with the audience, gives me a better feel for the subject being addressed. And we would say today that we have to embrace all the methods of presentation, because at the end of the day, we have to be able to communicate, reach the world at large. The world has become a global community. So this is one reason why, even though I may prefer, being directly in connection with the audience, we still have to be able to do, the different types of technology, the social media, all these are the platforms that, you can present either the speeches, or the media, to communicate the different aspects that we have before us. One of the constructs that we come across in speech 219 is the presentation ecosystem. The presentation ecosystem, is a really an integral part of how we put together and execute um, you know presentations. Presentations can be in the form of slides. They can be media presentations. They can be even articles or adverts that go out in the different circles. So basically, you taking all the key functions that have to be addressed, and before you have a concrete um, uh, you execute understanding the message, and you know really gravitating to how you bring the message alive, which is the visual story. And once you have that perspective of how to bring the story to the audience, then the actual delivery itself. So the presentation ecosystem really is a merging of all the constructs that really would put the emotional connection for the audience, and an engaging delivery. So the presentation ecosystem really gives you a solid concept on how to really put together any presentation. The range of the presentation ecosystem. To me, I think the concept of the visual story really allows us to bridge and move away from what had become a mundane presentation. The visual story is is more central to capturing the vividness that resonates. And you know by doing all the constructs of the visual story, there's an integration that allows the presenter to engage the content, and bring it before the audience. So to me, the visual story really is the height within the presentation ecosystem that really makes the presentation go. And this is a place where a lot of the presentation audience. So with this perspective, um, I could say that we had a time when we have to connect you know our viewpoints from what we are perceiving, what we are trying to capture, basically looking at the end bottom line to where it resonates with the audience. So to me, it's like you're trying to connect, two worlds when when we're looking at the presentation ecosystem. Um, so basically, Speech 219, has really been a bridge that reminds me and gives me an equipping on how to connect from the platform where I am to the platform where the audience is at. It's the connecting of the two worlds. Um, it's a better perspective of this. Another aspect that I can say Speech 19 has brought out is in the presentation layouts itself, the PowerPoint presentation. Uh, Prior to Speech 219, you know the my PowerPoint presentations really you know literally were cluttered, uh, and did not even have enough imagery to communicate to the audience. And now understanding that imagery is actually a quicker bridge for somebody to understand what you're communicating. I believe that this is one of the aspects that I really gained from speech to 19. And uh, aspect of eye contact, especially in public speaking before an audience, allows for us to make that connection. It creates an engagement with the audience, and really uh, brings us to a platform where we can draw them back in, and this way our message is effectively communicated. And it's something that personally I have to future times. And another aspect that is key, when presenting, is that when opportunity presents itself, the standing posture really uh, accentuates the voice projection, and it allows us to add the dimension of body language. And we engage. Some are very demonstrative with their hands, so we can really harness all these aspects. So these are some of the things that I would say speech 219 you know has really brought to the platform for me, especially during this semester. And with that said, that brings my presentation to an end. Thank you. And following this slide is the reference sections. Um, the people that basically used as the imagery. And I hope you way I can honestly say that as much as I was uh, not a fan of even the idea of speech 219, I can wholesomely say that I have picked up you know a skill set that will help me in my public speaking, in my communication, and in my presentations. Thank you.